Yay! Welcome to Thursday Morning Yoga. Happy Friday, Junior. We're going to be continuing with the breath this week. Excuse me. And working with kind of the space in between the breaths. So before we get too deep into all of that, we're going to do a little bit of a seated warm-up. Just kind of wake up our bodies and do a little bit of a neck hygiene. So get yourself to a comfortable seat. It's nice to kind of prop your hips up so they're a little higher than your knees. And then we're going to bring our hands to our knees, palms facing down. We'll start out with some shoulder rolls and circles, going up, back, and down, up, back, and down. Just wake up our bodies. As you inhale, the shoulders come up. Exhale, shoulders go down. A couple more rounds of this before switching directions. If you haven't switched already, go ahead and do so. So you're going up, forward, and down. Nice. Now we're going to exaggerate it a little bit more, bringing your hands to your shoulders. And then we're going to do circles with leading with our elbows. So you go down, feel like the elbows are very heavy and pulling down into the mat. And then forward and up, stretching up to the sky. Exhaling and bringing them back, pulling those shoulder blades together, and then letting your elbows become heavy again. Beautiful. Let's do it again at your own pace. Inhaling, the shoulders and the elbows come up. Exhaling, and it all comes down, bringing the shoulder blades together, and then allowing your elbows to be heavy. Inhale up, back, exhale and down, up, back, and down. Beautiful. A couple more rounds like that at your own pace. And then we'll switch directions. So waking up the body. It's early. We're tight. We've been looking at computers all day. Switch directions if you haven't already. Nice. And when you're ready, bring your hands to your mat, a little bit behind your hips. And then inhale and sit up straight. And then we're going to slowly lower our neck so that our head is down to the left ear, around the left shoulder. Shoulders are back and your shoulder blades are together, making that nice little back cleavage in the back. And then slowly flex the right hand and then start raising it a little higher so that you feel a stretch in that right shoulder, neck, maybe even down the right arm if your neck is really tight, like mine is. Imagine that you're pushing your right hand against a wall. If you need a little bit more intensity, you could lift that right arm a little bit higher. And then just hold where you find your appropriate edge. Beautiful. And slowly exhale and lower the right hand back to the mat. Mindfully lift your head back up to neutral. Re-engage those shoulder blades. Make sure that they're close to each other. And then lower the head down to the right side. Right ear close to the right shoulder. Flex the left hand, keeping those shoulder blades close to each other. And then start lifting the left arm up higher as if you're pushing against a wall. Feel that stretch in the left neck, shoulder, and arm even. I'm super, super tight in my neck, so I feel it all the way down to my fingertips. Find your appropriate edge, keeping the shoulder blades together. And hold there, breathing in and out. Nice. Slowly exhale and lower that left hand back down to the mat. Inhale and lift the head back up to neutral. And just wiggle the head back and forth a little bit. Traction it out. Oh, it's always positive pain in that one. And then we're going to bring our hands to our knees, palms facing down, and do a couple of neck circles. So leading with the nose, we're going to start small and go counterclockwise. Making a circle with our nose about the size of a marble, normal sized marble. And then we're going to make the radius of that circle a little bit bigger, like a golf ball. And expanding our circle a little bit wider, softball size. A little bit wider. Size of a small plate. A little bit wider, like a frisbee. And even wider still. As far of a radius as you can go, keeping your shoulder in place. Really lead with that nose. And feel that stretch on every side as you move around. And then pause at the bottom of the circle and reverse so that we're going the other direction, starting large. Again, leading with that nose. And then smaller circle, like a frisbee. A little bit smaller, like a softball. Smaller and smaller as we get to the bottom. Beautiful. Keeping your hands on your knees and your gaze lowered or your eyes closed if that feels comfortable to you. We're going to start breathing, tuning into the breath. And just start with some deep inhales and exhales. About 4 or 5 seconds on the inhale, 4 or 5 seconds on the exhale. As you breathe, just tune in to that breath, that life force. And today we're going to be working with the space in between the inhales and the exhales. So in yoga, there's 4 parts of the breath. There's an inhale. There's a retention of the breath after the inhale. There's an exhale. And there's a retention of the breath after the exhale. We're going to be working on those breath retention pieces. And just noticing how your body feels, how your mind feels, what your mind does when you get to those spaces in between, to those retentions. So as you breathe, we're going to inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 8 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds, and then repeat that cycle again. I'll count it out. Don't worry, just keep your body as it is, relaxed, eyes closed, and gaze lowered. Then we're going to inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Release control of the breath. Take a couple of cycles of breath naturally. Then we're going to go for another couple of rounds. I'll count them out. Keep breathing naturally, and if at any point in time your mind starts to panic in these breath retentions, go ahead and let it out. We don't want to get to a point of panic and stress here. All we want to do is notice how we're feeling. All right, prepare for the next round. And inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Release control. Take a couple rounds of breath naturally. And it helps to sit up straight so that we have that full expansion of the torso like we've been doing in previous sessions. Breathing into our belly, breathing into our chest, and allowing that energy and that life force to move freely. Okay, we're gonna go for one more round. See in this round if you can pay attention to what your thoughts are doing while you're breathing. Okay, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a couple of rounds of breath normally. And notice, you may have noticed that your body gets a little bit worried and a little bit tense on those retentions after the exhale. That's totally normal. Usually it's pretty comfortable to hold the breath after we inhale, but after we exhale and are completely empty, it's a little bit scary to hold the breath afterwards. So great work. All right, open up those eyes, remove any cushion that you were using under your hips. We're gonna come to hands and knees. And we're just gonna work with this breath again, similar to what we did last week and the weeks before. But we're gonna pay special attention to that space in between and to that pause in between the breath. Okay, from hands and knees, we're gonna do a couple of cat-cows. On the inhale, you open up the chest, drop the belly, lift the hips and the head. And then exhale, round the spine, tuck the hips and the sacrum. And inhale, arch the back, open up the chest. Exhale, round the spine, forward fold. So as you keep breathing and moving in cat-cow here, pay attention to when you get to the top of the breath and the bottom of the breath. And allow your movement to just pause in those spaces. And allow your mind to be totally present in that second or split second of time when you're not breathing, not actively breathing, and you're not actively moving. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, arch the back, open the chest, and pause. Inhale, round the spine. Inhale, open up. Just play and notice that space in between breaths and in between your movements. Awesome. And when you've had your fill, come back to neutral. We're going to work with transitions between hands and knees, a child's pose. So from hands and knees, as you exhale, you come back, scoot the hips back, come to child's pose, forehead on the mat. And then as you inhale, rise back up to hands and knees. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, hands and knees. And again, there's a pause at the top and the bottom of the breath every single cycle here. So just be aware and notice that pause and allow your body and your breath and your mind to be still. Inhale, child's pose, and pause. And exhale, exhale, child's pose. Inhale, hands and knees. And exhale, child's pose. It's almost like those rides at amusement parks with the kind of pendulum boat, and you get on the boat and it swings back and forth. And at the top of every cycle, it pauses before it comes back down. Also a swing. Beautiful. You're ready. Come back to hands and knees in neutral. Then we're going to work on the transition between hands and knees and down dog. So the inhale always takes you back to hands and knees. And on the exhale, you tuck your toes, engage your abs, and lift those hips to down dog. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, down dog. And when you're coming to down dog, the movement really starts from the hips. The hips lift and bring you back to down dog. It's not through the legs. The legs are helping to enable that movement. Inhale, hands and knees, and pause. And exhale, down dog, and pause. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, down dog. And when you've had your fill, pause and down dog. From here, we're going to do the transition between down dog and plank. You might need to lengthen your dog a little bit, walking your hands a little bit further forward. And as you inhale, you're going to roll through over, coming to the top of the plank. And then exhaling, lifting those hips, engaging your core muscles, coming back to downward facing dog. Again, initiating that movement with those hips. And as you inhale, roll through like a wave to the top of the plank. And exhale, engage those hips, coming back to downward facing dog. Inhale, roll through your plank. Exhale, down dog. And all of these movements, you can imagine that you're a wave, just moving back and forth, or that you're catching a wave, you're riding on a wave. And allow that action to kind of guide your movement with your breath. Beautiful. When you've had your fill, stop at the top of your plank. And then exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Nice. So now we're going to put all of those movements together. And this is going to be the vinyasa that we use for today's class. So as you inhale, push yourself up to hands and knees. And as you exhale, come to child's pose. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, downward dog. And inhale, plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. We're going to go through that a couple more rounds just so you get the feel of it. Inhaling to hands and knees. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, down dog. Inhale to plank. And exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Go through one more round of it on your own. Pay special attention to the breath, both in the movement and when you're still and in those retentions. Nice. Okay, beautiful. So then we're going to come about halfway through that so that we stop at downward facing dog. Inhaling to hands and knees. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, hands and knees. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. And take a moment. This is our first down dog. Pedal out your hips in this longer hold. Pedal those feet, move around, wiggle your hips, anything that your body needs. Before coming to a little bit of stillness here. And if this is a lot of pressure in your wrists, you can rotate your arms so that the squishy part of your elbows is facing towards the front of your mat. And that'll bring more weight into your shoulders. And a little bit more ease into the pose. Beautiful. On the next inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees. And exhale, step or hop back to the top of the mat and fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, lengthening through the crown. Exhale, deepen the folds. And inhale, rise up to standing, arms overhead, gaze to the thumbs. And exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. We're going to do a couple of sun salutations. Again, as always, we're going to be paying attention to the breath in these sun salutations. I will be giving you breath cues. And again, just pay a little bit more attention to that space in between and that pause in between. So as you inhale, your arms come up, gaze up to the hands, and there's a pause. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold, Uttanasana, and there's a pause. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen through the spine. There's a pause. Exhale, deepen your folds. Pause. Inhale, rise up to standing, arms overhead, gaze to your thumbs. Pause. And exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Pause. We'll roll through that again. Inhale, arms up, gaze up. Pause. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Pause. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen through the crown. Pause. Exhale, deepen the fold. Pause. Inhale, rise up to standing, arms overhead, gaze to thumbs. Pause. Exhale, hands to heart center. Pause. Okay, we're going to speed it up a little bit, but still pay attention to those pauses in between. Inhale, hands up, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen through the crown, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, deepen the folds. Inhale, bend the knees, plant the hands. Exhale, big step back with both feet, come to the top of the plank. Exhale, roll through Ardha Vinyasa, going all the way to your belly. Inhale to hands and knees. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, down dog, and stay in down dog. Take in another 5 breaths here. Just notice what your body is saying. And notice those pauses, those breath retentions after the inhale and after the exhale. Beautiful. On the next inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, look to the top of the mat, and exhale, step or hop back to the top of the mat and fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, deepen the fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, arms up, gaze up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, deepen the fold. Inhale, bend the knees, plant the hands. Exhale, big step back with the right foot and then the left to the top of the plank. Exhale, go all the way down to your belly and roll through our vinyasa. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, hands and knees. And exhale, down dog and stay there for 5 breaths. Beautiful work. On the next inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, look to the top of the mat, and exhale, step or hop back to the top of the mat and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, deepen the fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. All right, we're going to speed it up. Inhale, arms overhead, gaze to thumbs. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, lengthen through the crown. Exhale, deepen the fold. Inhale, bend the knees, plant the hands. Exhale, big step back with the right foot, drop the knee and untuck the toes. Inhale, arms up overhead, Anjaneyasana, low lunge, feel the pause. Exhale, plant the hands on either side of the front foot. Inhale, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and step to plank. And then exhale, roll through our vinyasa or go directly to downward facing dog. And in this vinyasa, you can really feel the movement of the breath guiding the body. On your next inhale, lift your right leg in the air. Exhale, right foot between the hands. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes. Inhale, arms up overhead, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Feel the pause. Exhale, plant the hands. Inhale, tuck the back toes, lift the knee. Exhale, step back to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, deepen the fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, arms overhead, gaze to thumbs. And exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, raise the arms overhead. Exhale, hands at the hips and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, deepen the fold. Inhale, bend the knees, plant the hands. Exhale, big step back with the left foot, drop the knee and untuck the toes. Inhale, the arms up overhead, Anjaneyasana, low lunge, and feel the pause. Exhale, plant the hands. Inhale, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and step to plank. Exhale, roll through our vinyasa, or go directly to downward facing dog. Beautiful. On the next inhale, lift the left leg in the air. Exhale, left foot between the hands. Drop the back knee and untuck the toes. Inhale, arms raise up overhead, Anjaneyasana, feel the pause. Exhale, plant the hands. Inhale, tuck the back toes and lift the knee. And exhale, step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, deepen the fold. And inhale, rise up to standing, arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Nice. One more, a little bit faster and a little bit tougher this time. Inhale, bend the knees, raise the arms overhead, Utkatasana, chair pose. Inhale, straighten the legs and forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, deepen the fold. Inhale, bend the knees, plant the hands. Exhale, big step back with both feet to the top of the plank. Exhale, roll through our vinyasa and go directly to downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, on your next inhale, raise the right leg in the air. Exhale, right foot between the hands, lower the back heel. Inhale, arms up overhead, warrior one, feel the pause. And exhale, plant the hands on either side of the front foot. Inhale, step to plank. Exhale, roll through our vinyasa or go directly to downward facing dog. And from down dog, inhale, lift the left leg in the air. Exhale, left foot between the hands, lower the back heel. Inhale, raise arms up overhead, warrior one, feel the pause. Exhale, plant the hands. Inhale, step to plank. And exhale, roll through our vinyasa or go directly to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Stay here for 5 breaths. Notice how the body feels. Allow the breath to calm down a little bit. Notice those pauses in between. Beautiful. On the next inhale, allow your right leg to raise in the air. Exhale, right foot between the hands. Lower the back heel. We're coming to warrior two. So remember, right knee on top of right ankle. And then inhale, allow it to lift your torso up, windmill those arms. Keeping your right knee on top of your right ankle. Again, there's a tendency for the knee to collapse inwards. So we want it to pull out so that the knee is tracking over about the middle toe. So we can pull on that right glute and pull that leg back in the socket. Nice, yes, beautiful. Stay here for 3 more breaths. Gaze can be over the front middle finger. Noticing the breath, tuning back in. Feeling that stillness in those retentions. Inhale and straighten that front leg. We're coming to triangle. Exhale, pull the left hips to the back of the room. Exhale, the right arm comes all the way forward as far as it can go. And then drop the right arm down to the leg. It could be on your hip, your thigh, or your shin. And before we bring the left arm up, we're going to inhale and open up the chest so that that left shoulder is pointing directly upwards. And then inhale the left arm up in the air. And imagine that you're doing this pose up against a wall where your hips and your shoulders are able to touch that wall. Nice. Gaze can be up at that top hand. And tune back into the breath. If you're shaking, that's good, that's fine. If you're holding your breath, just come a little bit higher. Relieve yourself and allow that breath to flow freely. 2 more breaths here. Nice. Inhale, rise back up to standing. Exhale, rebend that front leg, so front knee's on top of front ankle. Exhale, bend the right arm and place it on the thigh. And inhale, the left arm up and over your left ear for extended side angle pose. Again, imagine that you're doing this pose up against a wall. And remember, that front knee has a tendency to collapse in. So we want to open it up to the right side. Gaze can be up at that top hand. And allow yourself to expand on the inhale and be still in those retentions. 2 more breaths here. Nice. Inhale, look down at the mat. Exhale, plant the hands on either side of the front foot. Inhale, step to plank, and exhale, roll through our vinyasa or go directly to downward facing dog. And just notice how your body's feeling, the effects of the sequence on that side of your body when you get to down dog. Anytime that I cue down dog for a little bit of a longer hold, feel free to go to child's pose. If you're in child's pose, make your way to downward facing dog. And on your next inhale, lift your left leg in the air. Exhale, left foot between the hands. Lower the back heel. We're coming to warrior two, front knee on top of front ankle. Then inhale and windmill those arms up to a T. Again, a tendency to collapse that left knee inwards. So we want to open it back up, pulling and engaging the glutes on the left side and the thigh. Nice. Great alignment. All right, gaze is over those front middle fingers. 3 more breaths here. And this is a great time to engage that Ujjayi breathing that we learned last week. Just to give a little bit more awareness to that breath. Inhale and straighten the front leg. We're coming to triangle pose. Exhale, pull the right hips towards the back of the room. Left hand comes as far forward as you can. Exhale and drop the left arm down to your hip, your thigh, or your shin. And then before we bring that right arm up, we want to inhale and open up that chest so the right shoulder is facing the top of the room. And then you can inhale the right arm up into the air. Gaze can be at that top hand. Imagine you're doing this pose up against a wall. So your hips and your shoulders are touching. And if your breath doesn't flow, just lift yourself up a little bit higher. Two more breaths here. Inhale and raise yourself back up to standing, arms to a T. Exhale, rebend that front leg, bend the left arm, and inhale the right arm up and over your ear. Bring that left arm to your thigh. This is extended side angle. Again, we want to pull that left hip back in its socket to open it up so it's not collapsing in. Nice. And then allow the inhales to expand your body. The retentions and the pauses to bring a little bit of stillness. And the exhales just to surrender into the pose. 2 more breaths. Inhale, look back down at the mat. Exhale, plant the hands on either side of that front foot. Inhale, step to plank, and exhale, roll through our vinyasa or go directly to downward facing dog. Beautiful work, everybody. On your next inhale, lift the right leg high in the sky. Exhale, right knee between the hands, or right foot between the hands. And then we're going to inhale up so that our hands are at heart center. Our back leg is strong and engaged, so engage that kneecap. If you want a little bit more stability, drop that back knee down. And then from here, we're going to come into revolved side angle. So it'll be a twist. So inhale, rise up. Exhale, twist to your right and hook your left elbow outside the outer edge of the right knee. Inhaling to lengthen and exhaling to lift heart to hands. Keep your elbows close to those rib cages. And the gaze can be out to your right or over that right elbow. And if you feel stable with the knee on the ground, you can always tuck your toes and lift that back knee up to test it out. Not happening. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale to twist a little bit deeper. Beautiful. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. Relax those shoulders. Nice. Great alignment. All right, beautiful. Inhale, look down at the mat. Exhale, plant the hands on either side of the front foot. And then if your knee is down, go ahead and lift it. And then we're going to step about halfway closer to our front foot. We're coming to pyramid pose. So hands at the hips, and inhale, lift up just a little bit. Straighten out both of those legs and feel your hips. See if you can square them off before we come down. So the hips are kind of just level with each other. All right. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale to start lowering down. You can be as vertical or as far down as you want, whatever feels comfortable. And your hands can be on your hips, your thighs, your shin, your ankle, a block of the mat. You should start to feel a good stretch to the back of that right leg. Nice. And again, try and work on keeping those hips level. So the tendency is for that right hip to come forward. So let's just scoot it back in its socket just a little bit. Nice work. Inhale, exhale 2. Inhale, exhale 1. Nice, beautiful job. Inhale, bend that right knee. Exhale, step the left foot to meet the right. Then we're gonna plant our hands and put our, take a big step back with the right foot and drop the knee down. So both knees are at about a 90-degree angle. Inhale, rise up. Interlace your hands. And then flip them around so your palms are facing out. And then place them on that left knee. From here, we're gonna root down into the right knee, into the mat, and then also with our left foot. And from here, we'll start to feel a little bit of stretch in that right hip flexor. And if you want a little bit more, push down onto that left knee with your hands. Start rounding your spine. And if you want even more, you can start tucking your tailbone. And you'll feel a big stretch in that right hip flexor. I'll feel it. Yeah, this is a big one, especially for sitting at a desk all day. And a little bit of a counter stretch for the previous pose. Just root down with both of those appendages that are touching the mat. Nice. Okay, beautiful. Inhale, release it all, shake it out. Exhale, plant the hands. Inhale, bring the left foot back. And then exhale, you can roll through a vinyasa or go all the way to downward facing dog directly. We're going to come to the other side. But first in down dog, just notice how your body's feeling. And then inhale, lift the left leg in the air. Exhale, left foot between the hands. And then front knee on top of front ankle. Inhale, rise up, hands at heart center. We're gonna come to revolved side angle on the other side. So if you want that extra stability, you can drop your knee down. If not, and your leg is up, just engage your kneecap to keep that back leg strong and straight. Inhale to rise up. Exhale to twist to the left side, hooking that right elbow outside the left knee. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist and bring heart to hands. Keeping those elbows close to your ribs. Gaze can be out to your left or over the left shoulder. 3 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Nice. Inhale, look down at the mat. Exhale, plant the hands on either side of the front foot. If your back knee is on the ground, go ahead and tuck your toes, lift that knee. And then exhale, step the right foot a little bit closer to the left foot, about halfway closer. We're going to come to pyramid. So hands at the hips, inhale, rise up. Straighten those legs and square off those hips so that they're both facing the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, lowering the shoulders. And then exhale, hinge at the hips and start forward folding. Hands can stay on the hips or start moving down to your thighs, your shin, your ankle, or the mat, if that feels good. Feeling that stretch on the back of the left leg. You can stay as upright as you want. And again, there's a tendency for that left hip to come forward. So let's just pull it back in the socket a little bit more. Beautiful. Just 2 more breaths here. Shoulders away from ears. The birds are singing outside. It's beautiful. All right, inhale, hands back to the mat. Exhale, bend that right knee or left knee. And then step your feet back together. And take a big step back with the left foot, dropping the knee so that both knees are at about a 90-degree angle. And then lifting back up. Interlace your hands the opposite way, so the way that feels a little bit weird. Flip them so that your palms are facing out, and then place those hands on your right knee. Start rooting down into the mat with that left knee and the right foot. Exhale, push down into the right knee with your hands. Start rounding the spine, and then root down again a little bit more with that left knee. And you can tuck your tailbone if you want even more. Stay here for a couple of breaths, stretching out that hip flexor. Nice. Beautiful. Inhale, release it all. Wiggle out those wrists. Exhale, plant the hands. Inhale, I'll tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and step to plank. And then exhale, roll through vinyasa or go directly to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take a moment to notice how your body is feeling, to tune back into the breath if you've lost it. And on the next inhale, lift the right leg in the air. Exhale, right knee to right wrist in preparation for pigeon pose. Drop the back knee. And I like to scoot the back knee back just a little bit more so I can get a little bit more into that hip. If you have any space below that hip, go ahead and put a block or a blanket or a pillow. Otherwise, no worries. Just keep those hips a little bit square. And then quickly take a look back at your back leg. Just make sure that it's straight out behind you. Mine tends to splay off to the left or to the outside edge. I don't know why, but I just noticed it recently. So I'm going to correct it. So you can stay up here for pigeon. This is a great way to stretch out both your hip flexor and your hip. Or you can start lowering down onto your forearms. You can stack your fists to make a nice little resting place for your forehead. Or you can come all the way down to your forehead. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Tune back into the breath. And into the space between the breaths. And that stillness. We hold lots of emotions in our breath. And so stretching out our hips during yoga practice is a lovely way to start releasing some of that. And I think provides a really nice option for actually having a tangible connection between the mind and the body during this practice. So inhale, rise back up onto your hands. Exhale, heavily lean onto the right hip. And then bring the left knee to connect with the bottom of that right foot. We're going to come to a reclined hero's pose. So leaning onto your right, just scoot out that calf flesh on the left leg so that you can bring that left foot a little bit closer. The top of the foot can come to the mat if that feels comfortable. You can stay here. If your hips and your knees stay on the mat, then you can just start leaning back. Coming to the forearms if it feels comfortable, maybe all the way back, but don't go past your limit. Just notice where you start to feel that stretch in the left hip flexor in front of the leg. And just breathe here. Allow yourself to relax into the pose. One more breath. Beautiful. Inhale, rise back up to seated. Exhale, slowly and mindfully bring that left leg out in front of you. Exhale, cross those legs and roll over onto your hands and knees. Come through a vinyasa or go directly to downward facing dog. And then on your next inhale, lift the left leg in the air. Exhale, left knee to left wrist in preparation for pigeon pose on the other side. Scooting that back knee back. Again, stay here as upright as you want. That gets a great stretch in the hip and in the hip flexor. Or exhale and lower yourself down onto your forearms or your forehead. Take 5 breaths here. Opening up that hip. Surrendering into the pose and tuning into the breath. Final breath here. Inhale, rise back up onto hands and knees. Exhale, heavily lean onto the left hip. And then exhale, bring that right knee to connect with the bottom of the left foot in preparation for reclined hero. Again, scoot out that calf flesh on the right side just to make a little bit more room. And then bring the right leg, the right foot a little bit closer to the thigh. The top of the foot can be on the mat if that's comfortable. Hips and knees on the mat. And then you can start leaning back. If your hips and your knees start lifting, just stay where you are or rise back up a little bit. And come onto your forearms, or maybe all the way down, or maybe just sitting up, wherever you feel a stretch. Stay here for 3 breaths. Beautiful. Inhale and rise back up onto your hands and knees. Exhale, bring that right foot out in front of you, both feet, and sit on your butt. Scoot a little bit forward. And then come all the way to your back. We're going to do one back bend before Shavasana. You're going to come to bridge. So knees are up in the air, feet are down on the mat, heels are close to your hips, and arms are alongside your body, palms facing down. On your inhale, lift your hips up into the air. And then exhale, you can interlace your fingers behind your back, and then slowly roll your arms closer to each other, bringing those shoulder blades together behind your back. Then you can use those arms as a leverage to help increase that back bend, pushing up through the hips and through the chest. Stay here for 3 more breaths. And then exhale, unlace those fingers and slowly roll yourself back down onto the mat with your head. If there's anything else your body needs before Shavasana, go ahead and take it. Otherwise, straighten those legs, hip distance or wider. Arms alongside your body, palms facing up. Take a deep breath in just to arrive in this position and allow yourself to surrender. Tune back in with the breath. Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale everything out into the earth and release it. Stay here for another minute or so, just breathing and releasing any additional tension that you may be holding on to. When you're ready, start deepening the breath. Wiggling the fingers and the toes. And stretching out your arms up and over your head. Rolling onto the right side of your body. Coming into that fetal position, bringing your knees into your chest. Pause here for a moment. And push yourself up to seated when you're ready. They say that Om is the shortcut to enlightenment. So we'll seal the practice with one Om. Join me or just listen in and enjoy if you feel like it. Wherever you are, inhale your arms up over your head, gaze to your thumbs, feel the pause. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale to prepare for Om. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. Thank you for joining, everybody. Homework for this week is to feel the pause while you're breathing. Always tune back in to the breath and listen to what's going on and when you need to take a little bit of moment of stillness.